Thank you everybody for joining us, and thank you those who are watching online too. The fitness industry is an industry that's booming. It's booming. It's growing. It's outpacing inflation. You have new gyms popping up every single day, and along with that, you have a lot more jobs being created. The industry is not easy though. It's really not easy. And when you look at some of the stats in the industry, they're pretty appalling. What I wanted to bring to your attention though first is we're not only going to teach you how to sidestep a lot of these appalling stats and not become a victim of them, how to actually grow, but I wanted to let you know that we also have a couple of goodies for you. So if you stick around, we got a really cool cheat sheet, everything you need to know about SEO in the industry. And then we also have a really cool hack to Instagram that doesn't require you to be a hot chick, because let's face it, if you're a hot chick and you're in social media, your life is pretty much done for, right? Yeah, exactly, like David, that's his trick. So the promise that we're making is that if you employ these tools, that you'll grow by at least 30% over the next year. I can tell you that, I mean, how many people here would want to grow even by at least like 5%? Right, everybody in there, if you're not raising your hand, you should leave now. and I mean 10%, 20%, this is worthwhile. Into why you should listen to us, because I think that's one of the things that, you know, as you're sitting here or watching along with us, you're wondering why us. I can tell you, I'll get to these guys in a second, there's probably a much better reason to listen to these guys than you should ever listen to me, but I can tell you that the reason you should listen to me is because how many people actually like making mistakes? No hand should go up now. I seem to like making them. I screw up a lot, and every time I make a mistake, I learn something new. So why listen to me? Because I've been doing this for a long time, and I've managed to fail forward. Okay, I've made a lot of mistakes, and along the way, I managed to fail forward. I got the Inc. 5000 award, mentor people for Entrepreneurs Organization, and the SBA, and I quite literally in 2000, I don't remember what year, it was a long time ago. It was before the double-digit 2000s, and I left a very lucrative career in entertainment marketing. I was the youngest executive at my company, and I quite literally left a 7-figure income in order to pursue a $7 an hour job at Crunch Wall Street. That is without exaggeration. I felt it in my gut. I thought it was the right thing to do, and along the way, figured out how to be, I guess somewhat successful, like I said, by making some mistakes and also figuring out some stuff along the way. Andrei, on the other hand, Andrei, now is your time for your slide. No, you don't want to go to your slide. You want me to keep talking about myself?
Yeah.
So Andrei does some really cool stuff too, and Andrei, actually, the way I met Andrei is he works with a good friend's company, and he managed to take that company from a 6-figure amount in sales to a multiple 7-figure in sales within about 12 months, all through social media. So did they have good product? Yeah. Were they passionate? Yeah. I'm sure everybody in this room has good product or service and they're passionate about what they do, but that's just not enough. You need to know how to find your audience and how to market to them. And David, I don't know, what is it that you do again? David, really does some pretty amazing stuff with websites. He's actually, he's so good at what he does that Google, who pretty much, controls the internet these days and all of our lives, invited him to come and speak about how he designs sites. Think about that. Google invited him to come speak about how he designs sites and his SEO strategies because he's that good at it. So most people are trying to sort of hack Google and figure out their algorithms, right, for search. And they were so fond and they respected David's approach so much that they actually brought him in to lecture to them. And you've built over 1,000 websites, okay, which is pretty cool. Next slide, please. Okay, and then as a team, we got the little Three Amigos thing that I don't know Photoshop, but I did that on my phone, and I just think I just like it. I think David looks the coolest. It's too small here, but between the three of us, we've generated over $100 million in revenue. As I said before, David's done over 1,000 websites, and between the three of us, we have nearly 50 years of experience. And why should you care? Okay, why should you care? Who knows without looking at the slide how fast most people bomb out? Did you all look already? Who didn't look? They all looked. All right. Cheaters. So people get into this industry and they fail within 2 years. They're in and out within 2 years. Do you know any other industry that's crap? That's that crappy, aside from Bitcoin billionaires? Okay. It doesn't exist. I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible. So most people make the commitment to give other people a better life, and they don't even last 2 years. What's scarier is that in the United States, the failure rate, did people see the second bullet on there? Oh, you just looked, I caught you. I saw the eyeballs go over. The failure rate in the United States for businesses is 96% within the first year. Most businesses fail within the first year. And I gotta tell you something, I meet a lot of trainers and I get a lot of messages on Instagram of people asking me to look at their business, and or maybe they're opening a gym and they're curious what they should be focused on or what their strategy might be. And you know, at that point it's already a little different because you've got a brick and mortar, you've got a place that you go, right? But when you're an independent trainer and you're cutting your teeth and you're trying to make it, you are a business. And if you don't think you are, then you shouldn't be in business. You should go do something else. I can tell you that right now because it's not easy. And understanding business fundamentals is key. People don't fail because in this industry, and I've seen it over and over again, it's not because they lack technical skills and it's not because they lack passion. You meet some of the most passionate people who are relentless in their pursuit of continuing education. They have all the certifications you could ever want, right? And they're passionate about doing it. Other industries, like attorneys, hate their continuing education. They don't want to go to the, I mean, I don't blame them, but you know, they're not happy to go and go to these weekend learning events. I know in the fitness industry, people can't wait to go. They hear something new's coming to town, they sign up a year in advance. The reason is knowledge, and it's not the technical knowledge, it's business fundamentals, it's understanding how social media actually works, and understanding how sites and SEO work. So what we've put together with ProFit Accelerator, and it's ProFit, fitness professionals. Exactly. What we've put together is really, it's a streamlined approach. You can think about it like a fitness business MBA. We've put together all the information that you actually need to understand your business, to understand your strategy, and then know how to execute that strategy online. Because online right now, and I don't even need to sell this on anybody in the room, actually tell me if I need to sell this to you in the room because I'm more than happy to. How many think that your online reputation is important? Show of hands. Everybody, you didn't raise your hand. Your online reputation is not important? Okay. I don't know. I want to see your LinkedIn. So it's one of the most important things that you can have, and it's where people get customers. Whether you're an independent trainer out there, a physical therapist, or even if you have a practice, you're getting your customer. The first thing people do is, what do? They want information about something and they Google it. Okay, one person in the room. Sue's still using Yahoo. Everybody else, there we go. There's always one, right? So it's just really important to understand, this process and how it all comes together. And that's why I looked at what the other education programs were out there, and I decided to put something together that really streamlined this, made it more cost effective, more time effective, and really got the information that you need in order to grow your business, get to the next level, right? Next slide, please. All right. So business. Most people do business. Can you see that picture? No? It's a cute little girl trying to do pin the tail on the donkey. Now can you see it? It's like one of those seeing eye things. If you unfocus your magic eye, you'll actually start to see the dinosaur. So I always hated those things. My eyes would tear and I never saw the dinosaur. It's a little girl trying to pin the tail on the donkey. And that's how most people do business. They have no clue whether what they're doing is right or not. Pin the tail on the donkey, by the way, is like the most torture. You got this little confused kid, right? And then they're in front of other kids, and then you blindfold them, and then on top of blindfolding them, you spin them around, and then you say, okay, put the tail on the donkey. Like, I think it's more cruel than anything else. But regardless, I'm glad somebody thinks it's funny. regardless, that's how most people do business. They really have no clue where they're going, how to get results, and then if they're lucky enough to pop that off and see that the tail's on the donkey, or they at least got close, they go, that's it, I'm succeeding. They get their tax return, and was there profit? Yes, I'm winning, right? It's not so cute here, right? Can you see that guy? It's a dude, an older dude playing pin. That's just downright creepy, actually. Everybody can see this. What is that? Let's call it out. Scoreboard. What kind of scoreboard is it?
Football.
Football. Who's winning?
Guest.
Correct. Okay, the guest is winning. Who has the ball?
Tigers.
The Tigers have the ball. Is it the beginning of the game or is it the end of the game? End of the game, right? Okay. Would you say that the strategies for the teams at this point in time might be very different?
Yes.
Most people, all of us can read this scoreboard. None of you can read the scoreboard for your business. Think about that for a second. How can you ever win a game that you don't even understand how to score? Where you are in the game at any given point in time. It's a little disturbing when you think, well, that's really easy to read, right? How much time did you sink into understanding how to read that? Probably a lot. How much time did you sink into understanding your business's financials? Cash flow statement, balance sheet, P&L, profit and loss. How much time? Anybody? That's my point. That's what should be really scary, because those statements are the scoreboard of your business, and most of you are playing pin the tail on the donkey at best. Next slide, please. Anybody know who that is? Someone once said Mr. Magoo, and I got really upset because Warren Buffett deserves a lot more respect than that. I just said who it is. It's Warren Buffett, all right? And what Warren Buffett says is that accounting is a language of business. Okay, you can read the rest later, but the most important thing is you cannot succeed without speaking the language. How well could you do a job anywhere if you can't speak the language of that country? Can't. Impossible, all right? How can you expect to do your job when you can't even speak the language of what you're doing? Next slide. Anybody know what that is? I'll tell you what it is. It's a balance sheet, okay? But you've never seen it like that before. Balance sheets are really easy. What I'm going to teach you, because I can't teach you everything about accounting and everything about finance really quickly, but what I can teach you is I can teach you at least how to read a balance sheet in about under 10 minutes, okay? Balance sheet is really simple to understand. It's one of 3 statements that your accountant or whoever does your bookkeeping will issue to you, okay? And the 3 statements I mentioned before, you have a profit and loss, okay? That's telling you how much money you're making at the end of the day. Cash flow, that's how much it speaks for itself, how much cash you actually have at any given point in time to pay for stuff, right? And then you have your balance sheet, which gives a snapshot picture of the business at any point in time of what it's got and what it owes, okay, to a large extent, right? Okay. Balance sheet's really simple, okay? Balance sheet can be broken up into, because you see, accountants like to use really confusing terms, okay? Accountants use terms like debits and credits. Anybody even know what debits and credits are? Okay? Who cares, right? Because it's not real life. You can't spend your debits and credits, can you? You can't go into a bar and say you want to pay with debits and credits. It's not going to work. You got things and stuff. You got shit, right? You start a business and you have cash in the bank, right? You got stuff, all right? You start a business and you buy equipment. What is that? Stuff. That's all you need to know. You got stuff. You have stuff that you sell. What's that called? When you buy something, you have it and then you sell it. Starts with close, starts with an I. Not product, but
inventory.
Inventory, okay? Inventory is stuff, right? Then you have a section of what you owe. What could you possibly owe? Think about what you owe. Credit card debt, right? You have notes to the bank. You may have taxes that you owe. Okay, these are things that you owe. And then, believe it or not, you don't just owe stuff and you don't just have stuff, but you also own stuff, right? And there are only 2 things that a business truly owns. The 2 things that a business truly owns is the cash that went into the business, the initial investment, and its earnings. Those are the only things that a business ever truly owns. Okay? Next slide, please. So I'm going to quickly go over this. So on a balance sheet, we have things and stuff. You can have cash. You can have accounts receivable. Do people know what accounts receivable is? It's the money that people owe you. So even though it may not be in your pocket, it's something, it's things and stuff that you have coming to you, right? You have inventory that I mentioned before, and then you have an acronym right there, PPE, that's property, plant, and equipment. So you open a gym and you go buy a sledgehammer and a tire, that's equipment, right? You buy a rack or a rig, that's equipment. You own a physical therapy practice and you get a treatment table, you've got equipment, right? That equipment is always going to come from somewhere too, and this is how the balance sheet all makes sense in the end. I'll get to that in just a moment. You can also owe stuff, okay? You can owe accounts payable. So you're using services, right, and you need to pay those vendors, that's accounts payable. Taxes payable. Well, it's unfortunate, but we all have to pay taxes, right? So that will always be there. And then we also have notes payable. So if we took out a loan from the bank, we've got to pay it back. We need to account for that somewhere, and that's exactly why it goes up there. The last part is what we own. And as I said before, we own our earnings, right? So we're profitable and we generate cash, and that ends up in our pockets. That's our earnings. And then we also have the initial investment, okay? Or sometimes what's called owner's equity. Next slide, please. This is what accountants refer to as assets, liabilities, and equity. So people heard you guys have heard these terms before, right? Assets, liabilities, and equity. That's just fancy ways of saying the shit that you have, the shit that you owe, and the shit that you started with or that you earned that year. Isn't that much easier to understand? Is anybody having a little bit of a revelation about a balance sheet right now? I'm serious, by show of hands. I just want to know that you're all with me. Okay, just making sure, okay? It's that easy. This is that easy, but if you speak to an accountant, assuming that you can stay awake long enough, they are going to use terms that seem really foreign to you that should no longer intimidate you at all. These are really things to understand, really things that are easy to understand. Next slide, please. And for those of you who ever took an accounting course, what do you know? Assets equals liability plus equity. The left side of the sheet equals the right side of the sheet. The left side, the assets, equals liability plus equity. So what happens? It's now balanced, okay? Because it's a balanced sheet. That's exactly what it does. Does anybody understand why that makes sense? The reason it makes sense is because you can't have anything that didn't come from some money that you started with, some money that you generated, or some type of debt. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes? Yes? All right, awesome. Good. Next slide, please. That's a real life balance sheet. Has anybody seen that before? Probably not, because no one looks at the balance sheet. What you guys will look at is you'll look at profit and loss, right? You'll go all the way to the bottom where it shows your profit, and if it's a positive number, you'll have a drink, right? And if it's a negative number, you'll have 2 drinks. Okay? Next slide, please. All right, we're gonna do a little pop quiz. This is really tough. We got a 10 on one side. We got a 6 in that upper right-hand corner. We got a big old question mark in the lower right-hand corner. Remember, it's a balance sheet. It's a balance sheet. So what do you think that lower right-hand box might be? What number might that be? Any number. Any number. 4? Okay, that is the correct number. Very good. Guys, next slide, please. You have passed. Very important that you've passed. You now understand accounting. How many accountants do you know that are billionaires? If they understand the language of business, why aren't they the wealthiest people on earth? If all it takes is understanding business, then accountants should be the billionaires, right? But they're not. They're not. There's a lot more to it. You need to have innovation, sales, and marketing. And that's why a lot of people make the mistake of simply trying to hang a shingle, right? You've heard that expression before? These people used to literally hang a sign out. Well, people will just come. If you build it, they will come. Nothing in the world could be further from the truth. And in order to truly succeed, you need to be working with someone who understands how to penetrate, just the absolute abundance of information and clutter on the internet right now. So without further ado, who's up next? Andrei. Without further ado, I'm going to invite Andrei up, and Andrei's going to take it away on social media. Thank you, Andrei.
I love hearing Jeff talk. He could sell you a turd.
I promise to never do that.
Yeah. But seriously.
Do you want to buy one?
But seriously, he makes me sound way cooler than I am. I usually sit in front of a computer and nerd out. But I do deadlift more than him.
That's true. That is very true.
I mean,
hey, listen, it is what it is.
Right. My background, actually, I went to school for, and I don't recommend you do this because I got lucky, philosophy. Otherwise, you'll probably end up being a barista. An entertaining one to talk to, but did anybody do that? Did anybody go to school for philosophy here? I don't want to offend anybody. But that does give me a really unique perspective, and it's something that I apply even to the way I approach social media, digital marketing, and that kind of stuff. And I mean, social media, it's something that's a part of our lives whether we like it or not. There's still those standouts that are like, I'm off the grid, I don't have social media. And whether they like it or not, they're gonna miss out on things, and they're always gonna be that one guy. So it's a part of your life. Most of us have embraced it. A lot of us don't have any idea, how deep it can go and how much of an implication it has in everything, including marketing. But the best piece of advice that I give to people when they come to me and they're like, I want to do social media ads, I have a brand. I always ask them, what's your why? And maybe this is the philosophical side of me speaking, but there's this fantastic book by Simon Sinek. Have you guys ever read it? Start with Why. And he talks about a different way of approaching doing business, and he gives a perfect example of a company like Hewlett-Packard and a company like Apple. A company like Hewlett-Packard will come and they'll say, we made a laptop, it's good, it does this, this, and this, buy it. All right, maybe I need a laptop, I'll buy it. But Apple, they come to you and they're like, we see things differently, right? We want to change the world. And we decided to make a computer, it's beautiful, it's innovative, want to buy it, right? And that's how they sell things. They sell it because it's who they are. And the first thing I ask people is, what's your why? Because we live in an age where anybody can be anything online. Now, I think it's hard enough to be an authentic, genuine version of yourself, much less be a fake version of something else that you're trying to be. And so my biggest piece of advice that I can give people is really, really understand why you're doing something, what your motivations behind it are, and then you will be able to draw from that what you're doing and how you're doing it. And so this ties in directly with your value proposition. I don't work with people who I don't believe in what they do, because one, I don't want to help someone sell something that I don't believe in, that violate my code of ethics or something like that. So really ask yourself, what is your value proposition? What are you providing to people? What are you selling them? And so this value proposition is absolutely central before you can even know how to approach marketing, how even to approach doing your business. And there's a really simple diagram that you can use, and basically you have your customers' desires, you have your competitors' features, and then your features, and these three things all intersect. There's points of difference, points of parity, where you intersect with your customers and your competitors, and points of irrelevance. So I'd encourage all of you to do something and ask yourself these questions and really put down on paper concretely what your why is, what your value proposition is, and from there you can start to have a clearer picture of how to market those things. Next slide, please. And this leads into talking about niching. Anybody can sell anything on social media these days. It's opened up the doors for services in a marketplace that never existed before. You no longer have to either know somebody or go to school somewhere, and you can sell anything to anyone, but it's really, really hard. And so niching isn't a new concept. Everybody understands the idea of finding a target customer and then really, really narrowing down your marketing focus to them. I mean, that's what targeting social media ads is all about. But something people don't really understand is that niching is an extension of your identity and who you are. If you're an old guy who's a farmer and you're trying to sell breastfeeding equipment to pregnant moms, you're probably not going to be that good at it, right? It's not who you are. That's just a crazy example. So I just came up with that right now.
I like that one.
So it's an extension of you, what you do, why you do it. And so it's gonna be a lot easier for you to market something that you're all about. In the fitness world, you wouldn't expect the person coaching you to be unhealthy, overweight. It just wouldn't really make sense. I think they can get away with it in like high school coaching. I just have this picture of the super big high school football coach, you know what I mean? But football players are big, so it still kind of makes sense. So as an extension of these questions, what's my why? Not what do I do or how do I do it? What's my why? What's my value proposition? And from there, who is who am I trying to reach? Who does it make sense that the most authentic, genuine version of myself that I can reach and be myself, and these people will get, right? Because if people online, nowadays it's really easy to find someone who's very obviously fake. And for the most part, even though a lot of people can't put it into words, you just kind of know. Right? You don't want to be someone or try to market or sell yourself as someone that you're not. It's probably not going to work out. And when it comes to social media marketing and spending money, you're going to have a bad time. Next slide, please. So I want to give you guys some practical advice. That was a little bit of theory, and I could talk about it for ages. Everybody at the end of the day, they just want me to get them more followers, more engaged, and I'm like, really? That's it? And obviously there is some correlation between the amount of followers you have, your engagement, and how much money you make, but there's a little bit more to it than that. So here's 5 really, really simple practical things that you will probably have heard before and have read them before, and everyone sucks at them. And it's just how it is in life, I want to be a good person. Well, you can still be a shitty person that wants to be a good person. You guys are great people, I'm sure. Just leave them both up. So post. I don't know how many people, they're on social media, and a lot of them don't know what to post, so they're afraid of doing it. And that's why a person like me has a job. But that is absolutely one of the most important things. You gotta post, and you gotta do it consistently. And this is a catch-22. The second thing is quality trumps quantity, right? And it's like, well, great, now I'm even more insecure because my post is gonna be shitty, so I don't want to post it, But honestly, those are 2 of the most important things. And I put plus 10%. I just pulled those numbers out of my ass because they sounded good. But if you do these things, I guarantee you will get more followers. Number 3, engage with people. I'm honest. Engage with your followers and people religiously. There's nothing cooler, and I still really, really like it, and it brings a smile to my face when I see a big corporation, like Comcast. No, that's a bad example. They don't do shit. Or anywhere else. A company like, Jamba Juice, and they're responding to people individually on comments, and it's just, it doesn't even matter. That person's just saying, I really like the kiwi strawberry shake. They're like, yeah, we love it too. And it's like, cool, that shows that a company cares about its customer. And we're moving into this digital world where that kind of stuff is going to matter. The line between company and consumer is being blurred and there's no longer this process if I have to make a call and listen to a robot and press 6 keys in order to get to a real person, right? We have an expectation, and your customers are going to have an expectation, and your clients, that you are accessible, that you are responsive, that you are authentic, and you care about them. Next slide. Have a basic strategy. Like anything in business, it's going to be really hard, and you're probably not going to get very lucky if you just go into it blind. Most of us understand that you kind of have to have a plan. The most basic of this being a business plan. Understanding how you're going to deal with your finances. The same thing applies to social media. You have to have a strategy. Sometimes that may look like having a posting schedule. On Monday I'm going to repost a post from somebody. On Tuesday I'm going to do a giveaway for something. On Wednesday, I'm going to post a selfie. I don't know. it's a strategy, and it's consistent, and over time it works, right? It ties in with the first 2 points. You can't just post anything randomly that doesn't make any sense. It has to be, next slide, it has to be authentic and genuine, because people can see that. We really underestimate how people perceive brands and perceive us when we're trying to sell something. As people in the fitness industry particularly, I believe that it's important, because you are an extension or a version of academia almost. You're teaching people. That's a respectable thing to do. You're not a traveling door-to-door salesman. You're actually helping people better their lives, right? And you're getting to them on a level that's intimate and personal, and it deals with their insecurities and passions and desires, and that is not a position to be taken lightly. And so be real, right? And it will show through social media, and it will affect how your business grows. Next slide, please. And then everybody wants to know, well, how do I do paid ads? Because Facebook ads are a world of its own. I mean, the amount of data that this company has on people is creepy, right? Being a marketer, I can target a pregnant farmer lady who likes John Deere tractors and grew up in a Catholic household in Wisconsin. I can target that person, right? How do they know that? They just do. It's data collection, right? It's algorithms. As a marketer, you have access to all that. And then Facebook makes it really, really easy to just take your money by putting that damn button everywhere, right? I've seen people push this button over and over and go through thousands of dollars of ad spend, and they don't even know what kind of metrics to look for. They just see that people are maybe liking it, or it says people reached. They're like, 20,000 people saw it, great. Well, what if you were trying to sell 20,000 people,
20,000 farmers breast pumps.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I wish I was as quick. Damn, that was good. So yeah, just don't do anything to lose money. Right? And this is one of those things where it's not you take an action and the result it automatically magically happens. When you click that button, all it does is it just picks a random assortment of people like your friends or your friends and their friends' friends and delivers them an ad. Now that's somewhat targeted, assuming that you're a fitness person and fitnessy type people follow you, but it's nowhere near enough. There's over 1 billion, almost 2 billion people on Facebook, and all of them are susceptible to this. So when it comes to this, it's nowhere near enough time to really talk about it, but it's all about targeting, testing, split testing, and then reanalysis, and then doing it over and over again until you find something that really, really works. So just wanted to give you guys a couple of jokes and tips, and that's about all I got.
I do not like Andrei, right? Isn't he such a lovable guy? Up next we have David. He's not nearly as lovable, but he is very smart, and he knows a lot about, you're lovable on some level. Punctual and lovable, which is the best part.
I'm definitely not punctual.
He's not. David,
and I'm not smart. Actually, I'm from the South, so down South we keep things very easy. So I'm only going to talk about 2 things tonight. Golden showers and Oreos.
Who's a fan of both?
Not at the same time.
Don't raise your hands, yeah.
So the golden shower. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because he had the golden circle. So I wanted to sort of throw this golden circle with the golden shower. So the golden shower here is basically wherever your leads come from. Okay? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where a lead is generated from on the internet. You're going to hopefully create some sort of value out of it. That's why it's called the golden shower. I just made that up last night at 2 a.m.
What were you doing when you made it up? Yeah. Next slide, please.
So what Andrei talked about, he's a fucking genius in social media, but that's just one drop of the golden shower. We also have leads from search engines. We also have, whenever you do searches now, what comes up? The map. Okay, that's another opportunity. And now we're starting to see these cards pop up where you search for something like the top ways to do something, and up at the top are the top 5 ways that you can achieve something, do something, or be something, right? So Google is doing a lot of this for us. We don't have to do it anymore because they have machine learning built in that's doing it for us. So the golden shower falls down, and it comes not into obvious places, but into your website instead. So your website is a funnel, and the idea is that it doesn't matter if you meet somebody at an event. It doesn't matter if you get organic search traffic coming to your website. It doesn't matter if you launch Facebook ads or you post religiously on Facebook. All of this at the end of the day is going to come into your website, right? Because nowadays what we do is we do our due diligence. How many people have been recommended to somebody and just been like, fuck it, I'm going to hire them, right? I'm not going to do my due diligence. I'm not going to worry about spending money. I'm just going to go right now and pay $1,000 for that thing. No, we don't do that. We go over to Google, we go company name, and we see what pops up, right? If it's got 1 star, what do? Right? We just call our friend and we're like, are you sure? Right? Is this the company? They have 1 star on the internet, right? We do our due diligence. So the website, it all comes down to the website. And out of the website, we somehow have to turn a golden shower into value, slightly off-colored value. And value,
Dehydrated.
value in most people's mind is, I send somebody to my website, I spend money on something, and they are then going to give me money in return, right? When you're pitching somebody, the idea of spending that time saying, hey, you should do your free trial with me, right? Is that they are one day, hopefully the first time they come in, they're gonna pay you money for that next time they come in, right? That's what we do, because we're so focused on generating money. That's what we want. But with a website, it's not just about creating money. You can also create what I like to call savings accounts. An email address is a savings account, right? That's somebody who thought you had something on your website worthy enough to trade their email address for, okay? A like on Facebook, a follow on Facebook, a follow on Twitter, a new Instagram friend, follower, friend. I'm from the South. So we're all friendly down south. We don't have followers. That's all value, because at the end of the day, if you create any sort of relationship with somebody, then you can reach out to them time and time and time and time again until they finally go, hey, stop writing, right? Unsubscribe. But if they're still subscribed, they're still open game. And it's a lot easier to get somebody to trade their email address for something of value than to come up and be like, hey man, give me $1,000 2 weeks, right? Hey, you're gonna get buff, right? You're gonna be as buff as Jeff at the end of it, right? But not many people are gonna wanna do that. But if I came up to you and I said, hey man, give me your email address, I'll send you what I know about Jeff's workout, right? All you gotta do is drop your email address. Are you more willing to do that? Yeah, right? Because we all want to be like Jeff. So it's a lot easier to get email addresses and get friends and followers than it is to get that money, to get paid, that paper. How many people in here have bought a car? I know we're in New York City, nobody drives. How many in here have bought a metro ticket? So the people that have bought cars in this room, when you walked onto that lot, did you have a salesperson like come out and greet you? Okay. Did they come out and go, what you look for today, man? What do you want to buy? What can I get you into? Right? And what do you do when that happens?
Tell the fuck up.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because you know what you want already.
Exactly.
You want an idea and you know they're lying to you anyway.
Exactly.
Because I don't want that rust rate, like no one knows what that is anyway.
Yep. Because what are they trying to do?
Upset.
They're just trying to sell a fucking car.
Yeah.
Right? They don't care about you. They just want to sell a car. So, how do we get people that land on a website to do what we want them to do without being the salesman that walks up and is like, hey man, welcome to the car. I'm from down south, so they wear cowboy hats and they walk up and they're like, welcome! Welcome, friend! What are you looking for today? Can I get you in that Cadillac? Right? And then you just
Really, that's real. That's genuine.
That's actually my real accent. I put this on when I come up here. So the first thing we do is we just like, hey, well, I'm just looking, man. Don't worry about it. I'm just looking, right? And even when we want to buy that car, we fucking dread walking in there to the doors, and the guy's sitting there, and you're like, hey, can I just want to test drive this car out here. And you see his eyes light up, right? Because he knows that $250 is about to come to him. So with the website, we have to do a few things. And notice, none of these in here are selling, okay? The first thing we need to do is we need to optimize. So we need to obviously get fucking traffic coming to the website, okay? And this is where, with a lot of people that build websites, they're so concerned about how that website looks. You know, they're less concerned about how it works. They're even more or less concerned about like if it actually does anything. They're just so concerned about somebody landing on it for the first time and being like, "Ooh, this is a nice site. This is great. This looks awesome." Right? And the thing is I don't want awesome. Right? I don't want a site that somebody lands on and they're just like, wow, that's neat. This guy flashes and does funny things. I want somebody that comes to the site and it's optimized for their experience. Okay? So the first thing that we need to figure out is, you know, if you're searching for my business, what are you actually typing into Google? What are you typing into Bing or Yahoo? Okay? Or web crawler? And I need to somehow optimize the experience that you have, which means the content, the images, the layout, the everything else. I need to optimize all of that so that when you get there, you feel like you're down south, you're home again, okay? And most people are so focused on not optimizing for your experience, but optimizing for the sound. There we go. It's a smart bunch up here. Optimizing for the sell, right? We're always focused on us selling. So we want to optimize to get that traffic in there, and then we want to optimize for the experience that you'll have once you get there. So how do we do that? Well, the first thing that we have to do is we have to recognize who's coming to the site, okay? So if I am a 35-year-old overweight mom of 2, okay? And Jeff really enjoys working with overweight 35-year-old women with kids.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. Take him on for the team.
Don't judge.
He needs to not sell her something. He needs to understand her, right? And this really goes into psychology. The first thing that we do when our friend tells us that they're having a bad day, we don't go up and just be like, okay, suck it up, let me tell you about my day. Right?
It's true, some people do. That is very true.
Let me tell you
Some
this.
people do.
You know, we don't just brush it off and be like, I want to tell you about my day. My day was shittier than your day. You know, we don't do that. We go, oh my God, tell me what happened. Right? We have empathy. We want to listen to them, whether we really give a shit or not. But because we're a friend, we want to be there for them. Right? So that's what we do. So with this, we need to recognize who the visitors are going to be. We need to be like, listen, I understand you're here because maybe you don't think you have time to work out. Having kids is hard. You're running around at home, right? You used to be a model, now you're not, right? But it's okay. I get it. And you know what? My goal is that I want to get you back to that point. So what we do is we educate, okay? We educate them on why Jeff is going to be the best person, okay? You know, I used to be a fitness trainer for just anybody. And then I had this mom come in, and it fucking blew her away. 3 months in, she's losing weight, she's happier, right? That she's husband's all in love with her again, like it's working out awesome. Kids are like, Mom, you look great. and so now Jeff had a realization. He was like, I started offering my specific services to overweight moms who are 35 with 2 kids because he had that one client that came in and he made her day, right? And that changed it. That changed it for him forever. So now, if you're an overweight mom coming to the website and you read that, you're going to align with that, right? Why would I want to go to the person that's just like, you're going to come in here, I'm going to work you out, and you're going to get skinny or you're going to get strong, we're going to do all those things, and then at the end of the day, you're going to feel great again. That's what everybody's website says, right? But not Jeff's. When I come to Jeff's, I feel like he actually understands what's going on, and I actually feel like he's going to be the right fit because he kind of went into this because of a past experience related to it, okay? So we're going to educate. The other thing with educating is that there's a lot that people don't know about, whatever they search online, right? If I just crashed my car, I don't know anything about insurance, right? The reason I'm looking it up is because I'm fucked, right? I'm like, what can I expect, right? Well, this is how the insurance process works, okay? Just so happens I didn't have insurance at the time, so I'm like trying to backtrack, get insurance now, and pay for the wreck. So what do? Well, we end up on a website that sells insurance, but they take the time to actually educate me on how the process works and what to expect and what I'm going to have to pay out of pocket versus what they pay and how that works. And all of a sudden, they've educated me to the point that I actually feel like they're a really good fit for me, right? Because they actually took the time to explain it versus took the time to try to just sell me a $35 a month plan. I have a really shitty car. So educate. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to offer. We're not going to sell anything, but we're going to offer. And the offering really depends on whatever page of the website they land on. Optimize. Find out who your target audience is. Find out what words, phrases they are searching for online to find the businesses like yours, right? That we're going to optimize our content to fit. Next, recognize. We're going to show empathy. We're going to let visitors know you understand their fears, frustrations, experiences, and pain. I said that like a wrestler. Pain. We're going to educate. So we're going to explain why you're different and why you're the perfect fit for them. What makes you and your company so special, and that's going back to what Andrei said about the why. What makes you the right fit for somebody. Next. And then we're going to do the offers. So call to actions that do more than sell. We're going to make offers that they can't refuse. Don't ask them for money, right? And this is like, if you go on 90% of the websites right now, what do? It's all about closing the deal all the time, right? But then those 10% of the people that aren't concerned about closing deals and actually just providing value of some sort, they have a much higher conversion rate and a much higher engagement rate than anybody else because that all comes, right? It's a byproduct of just being good at what you do. And then we're going to wrap that inside a site that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. So it's funny because I was going to get to just the tip because I know you'd enjoy that. I think you've already figured out some of the personalities up here. But I think that something even just hearing this right now, you really hear from both David and Andrei how important authenticity and genuine value are. And what's interesting about that to me, and I hadn't planned on saying any of this at all, is that how many of you are being authentic and providing value to yourselves? Sometimes we're the last people, got a couple of people, but you really have to stop and think. So you shouldn't have every hand in the room have gone up, right? It's so important that we continue to be authentic with ourselves, to provide value to ourselves. A lot of us are used to providing value to other people, but how often do we actually give it back to ourselves? And what I really want to ask you, along those lines too, because it's important for me to understand, is look, we don't have a lot of time. We actually had very limited time. We've already gone over, okay? But how many people found value? I'm serious, either from Andrei, from me, and give me an idea, keep your hands up if you feel you got value from all three of us. I'm just curious if we did our job. All right, I really appreciate that. So did I earn the right to just at least talk a little bit about ProFit Accelerator for a second? Yes?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, appreciate it. Next slide, please. All right, just a couple of quick success stories. You can look at this later. This is my favorite email of someone blowing me off for a meeting that I ever got. I mentioned before that I mentor businesses for the SBA and also for Entrepreneurs Organization. And this was a mentee of mine for the SBA, Abid. He's from Pakistan. The businesses that I mentor are specifically female and minority-owned businesses. And this gentleman was from Pakistan, software developer. He had a great concept, but he was just, he couldn't break like the low six figures, and his goal was to get over $1 million. And one afternoon, I was gonna put this up as a slide too, I whiteboarded his entire business strategy for him. And it resulted in the email that I got, which is, thanks, but fuck you, because I'm too busy making money to meet with you again. Which is it's pretty awesome to get, right? So this is actually not written to me. This is written to my assistant Priya, and she forwarded it to me, and I thought it was hysterical. Next one. You guys can blow through these, but Andrei does some really cool stuff in many industries. This one, he picked an example that's not even in this industry. It's in the it's in real estate. But what Andrei is excellent amongst just being a very likable dude and very smart about social media, is how to leverage your dollar. That's why he's so passionate about you not hitting that boost button. It's funny because I actually thought if I could redo this slide, if I ever do, I'm gonna turn that boost button slide into a toilet flusher, right? Because that's really what you're doing. They might as well change that on Facebook. So he's good at leveraging your dollar, how far that will go on social media. And he's got strategies. I know some of the strategies. I gotta tell you though, I would never try and do them on my own because I'm not the expert. I understand it, but I'm not the expert. Next slide. So what is ProFit Accelerator? It's a 6-month online power MBA for the fitness industry. We put together one-on-one coaching. It's really high value lectures where Andrei basically is going to lift his skirt and show you the goodies. And we've got some fantastic SEO golden showers as well that David's going to personally deliver. I still can't believe that. Next slide, please. If you wanted to work with us, I can tell you that the entry point, just so you understand the frame of reference for this, we're all going to cost you over $5 grand a month easy. So this is easily $15,000 a month of value just to be working with us. Andrei, I've actually tried to set certain people up with Andrei, and he turns away the business. He's one of those. He's just so ethical in his delivery. Not that I sent him shitty people, but if he doesn't think that he can genuinely work with someone at that point for a variety of reasons, he just turns it away. And he's got a waiting list. He's got people who just want to work with him so bad. What we're giving, and if any of you brought your binoculars, you can read this. What we're giving you, because there's a lot of stuff. I actually even need to look to read it. But we've got the 6 live webinar modules. We've got 45-minute calls one-on-one with me every single month just to refocus you on your strategy, refresh your strategy on an ongoing basis. Every single month as well, we do a financial review, me and my team, of your business's financials, of that strategy as well. We do a 60-minute one-time setup of your books if you don't have that already, so that you can understand how to put together some of this information so you can make good decisions. On top of that, 2 30-minute calls with Andrei to review your social media strategy. After that, managed Facebook and Instagram campaigns with Andrei too. So he's not just going to tell you, oh, this is what you should do. This isn't one of those things online where you get some shitty PDF and then you still have no clue what you're actually doing, right? Andrei's not only going to explain this stuff to you. We have the learning mod. You must have, looks like somebody bought a shitty PDF, everybody. You know what a shitty PDF is like, exactly. That is not what Andrei's doing. He's actually going to show you how to do this stuff and hold your hand and do it with you. And then David is going to go over your entire website strategy, 1 hour, one-on-one call. You're going to have a live build. So the way that David builds websites is he eliminates all of the waste. If anybody's built a website before, you know that there's a lot of waste that goes into it. That you want one thing, the designer comes back with another, and you're like, I can't believe this, I know what I said, and then they come back with a new version of it, and then you're going back, right? You've been through this, right? It's a horrible experience, it's horrible. What David does is he builds it live with you, in a screen share. So you see everything. It's best for both sides. You just bang out a site that works really quickly. So he's gonna build a live site with you, and then every single month, also make sure that you review and continue to optimize your site. That's a big word that we heard tonight, right? And also make sure that SEO is optimized as well. Next slide, please. This costs a lot of money. All of this costs a lot of money. The webinars alone are $1,800. I can tell you that to get me on the phone like that, time is one of the things that's very scarce, and that's why this program was so interesting to me, is it gives me a way to leverage my time and have a lot of impact without having to have 300 people that I'm hand-holding every single day. And I don't want to say hand-holding, but I can sell companies, and there is a lot of hand-holding involved sometimes, especially the bigger that they get. We just have a tremendous amount of leverage in that. Next slide, please. We're going to go back to, who is this? Okay, thank God you didn't say Mr. McGill. I was hoping, because I made a joke about that earlier, so we're going to come back to it. But once again, we have a couple bonuses baked in, okay? And I think one of the things that David left out was that your site, you don't want to shove selling down anyone's throat on your website, but you do want your site to sell, and you want it to happen while you sleep. And I can tell you, if you don't figure out how to make money while you sleep, that's what happens. Warren Buffett is spot on. So he's got a whole strategy that he's got to automate that and turn your website into a top salesman overnight, and then also make sure that the SEO and CRM systems that support that, what you actually do with those leads, or make sure that the leads don't get lost. I mean, if you have people who are interested in buying and then you lose them, they're worthless. He's gonna make sure you don't lose that. Second bonus is Andrei's gonna show you how to do what Tesla's doing right now, right? Hands-off driving. He's gonna teach you how to completely automate all of your social media, because I don't know about you, but when you start to think, I hear content schedules, and we have content schedules here, and even with content schedules, it's a pain in the ass. He's gonna teach you how to automate that entire process. These are just bonuses on top of everything else. Next, please. Okay, it's not gonna cost you $15,000. That's what it should cost you, honestly. If anybody was to work one-on-one with us, it would easily cost $15,000 a month. It's actually, next slide, not even gonna cost half. Next slide, it's not even gonna cost you $1,000. Next slide. It's not going to even cost you $877. Now, where did that number come from? I'll tell you where it came from. That's right on our website right now. That's actually what all that costs. It's $877 per month. You're getting the website, the live build of a website, continuously optimized SEO, calls every single month with me, review of your financials, the social media campaigns to drive you customers for $577. That's the middle price. And that offer, by the way, and for those of you who are watching live with us now, that ends in 1 hour from now. The clock just started ticking. So literally for that, the next hour, you can lock in for $577 a month, which I can't imagine. I mean, I know what coffee costs in New York City, okay? And I'll tell you, some of you probably come pretty close just from your beverages, whether they're alcoholic, caffeinated, or a combination of the two. Next slide, please. $577. So, guys, let me just ask you a question. How many of you are ready to sign up now? Just by show of hands, I want to know who's ready to go. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate your time. Everybody who's watching right now, I appreciate your time too. If you have questions that have come up along the hour that you spent with us, please make sure you hit us up. We'll be doing a little Q&A, and we'll continue with our Q&A live. Guys, thank you very much once again.